One of the biggest questions we get asked in our community is how to find bookkeeping clients. I sat down on the sofa with Joe Wood and we had a chat about the strategies you need as a bookkeeper to find those clients. This is video 2 of a 3-part series, and in this video we talk to you about building your personal brand and why it's so important in this day and age where we're worrying about trust and people catfishing and all of those things online that we worry about. So tune in, learn more from us here about how you can find your clients through building your personal brand. Don't forget, if you missed the first episode before this, you'll be really interested to go and watch our episode 1, which was about beginner level strategies for finding your clients. It's much more about business foundations. And there is a video 3 that follows on from this one. You can watch that straight after this.
Welcome to the Bookkeepers Podcast, sponsored by Xero.
Move into section 2, where we're going to talk about some advanced strategies. And I think that the layer on top of the business foundation work that you need to do to find your first clients is to build what we call a personal brand. But what you might know, if you're new to the business world, you might know this as your reputation. We need to be building a reputation. Sometimes people have said to the two of us, you know, you're prolific, you're everywhere.
Yeah.
My husband said to me, today, we're obviously filming the podcast today, and he messaged me and he said, you know, I have my YouTube up on the TV. He was obviously watching some videos last night, and he said, our son, he said, your thumbnail came up for the Bookkeepers podcast, and I know that Wilf was impressed. And he's like, he didn't say it, but I could see it on his face. And I was like, I suppose that's kind of like when people say prolific, it's like just appearing everywhere.
Yeah, they might not be consuming everything, but you're popping up. There's emails, there's Facebook posts, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, LinkedIn. Yeah, we are everywhere, but people assume that means we are doing this 24/7.
No.
And that's not the case.
No.
Like at the moment, we're batch recording podcasts so that they can go out timely every single week. We'll have shorts come out of it. We are very good at repurposing the content that we already have.
Yeah.
And I think we're like at 350 or so episodes of the podcast. So that is it, like that we've been consistent for the 5.5 years.
It's a strategy though, isn't
Yes.
it? It's like deciding we've done the baseline. So whatever business you're in, you've done the baseline, the brand exists, you've laid the foundations, there's ways for people to take the next step with you. You're clear about what you do. The next step to layer onto that, the advanced bits, and we can go as advanced as you want, is to have a strategy that means you can look prolific. And if you can do that, people get to know, this is more about knowing you individually rather than the brand. Because to be honest, if you build your personal brand, I really believe this, whatever you sell in the future, you can sell it because people know you and they trust you because of the work that you do, the brands that you build.
And we have got multiple brands.
Yeah.
So, people know Joe and Zoe as we actually have a joint brand.
Yeah.
Then I have my own brand. You have your own brand. Then we've got Six Figure Bookkeeper. We've got Journal. We've got Hey Monica.
Yeah.
But all of those brands have benefited because they're associated with us.
Yeah.
And this is what bookkeepers don't realise that they need to do. And I definitely worked, and you definitely worked on a personal brand, which is really, I always love this, that when people say your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. What do people think about? Now, they may not be able to say anything about you if they've not seen anything. So you have to be prolific in a way to be able to, for people to be mentioning you in a room that you're not in.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Like, what would you like people to be saying about you if you're not in the room? And then how are you going to get them to recognise and know that you exist?
I'd love to talk to you a little bit about the sort of mindset for moving into a personal brand space, because I think that when we speak to bookkeepers, a resistance, like I think that the foundational work is much easier. It needs a bit of tech savviness or someone you know who can do that for you. There's learning, But if you can get those bits in place, you have the the way for the client to reach you and check you out. I think that the thing that is most uncomfortable for bookkeepers, and lots of bookkeepers will refer to themselves as introverts. I think we all have introvert qualities and extrovert qualities in different situations.
Yep.
But I think that the idea of putting yourself out there and saying, hey, I'm here, really frightens people. And, that isn't what we're suggesting. We're suggesting that you are building a reputation as someone who's brilliant. And that is going to look different for different people, because different people have different levels of comfort around it. But you've definitely said to me this year, we launched Hey Monica earlier in the year, and we've had to really be more visible, and you haven't always felt comfortable with visibility.
No, it's not a natural, I don't think unless you're 100% an extrovert.
Yeah.
And I definitely have extrovert tendencies, and some people will think us doing this is extroverted, and it is in a way for someone else's, but this isn't
a chat between the two of us.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel like it is, but obviously it goes out and then other people can see it. And, we had Steph Nicholson on as a guest recently, and she was like, oh my goodness, I always wanted to do this, but I never thought I'd be brave enough. And actually it was just a chat in a room. This feels like a very safe space. But I don't know, I go through, and I think it's just natural, I go through waves of feeling that I feel more confident to do things and put things out. But other times, I think people do know, like, it's not just about, I don't ever talk about bookkeeping, really. I talk about my values, and that's, my family, and, being a mum, and having a work ethic, and working with you, and building a community, and it may be, the odd glass of Prosecco might show up, or how I love to cook for my family. How I'm a big sister of 5, like lots of family events. That is my personal brand, which helps people to see who I am behind what I choose to do. And they will either gravitate towards me and think, oh, you're somebody that has similar values to me, or I can recognise the values in you and I like them, or they're going to go, no, you're not a bit of me, and that's fine. So when I do then talk about something that has a business connotation to it, they're taking that with that knowledge of everything else about me at the time, which sets me apart, because only I can be me.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I think sometimes you feel like it's because I think we've maybe grown up with the like fake it till you make it attitude. I don't know. No, maybe I don't think I've grown up with it, but I think there was definitely like a decade of that being, you should just need to get on with it.
The hustle culture kind of way of just doing whatever you need to do, the cutthroat way. Yeah. Just get yourself out there and that fake it till you make it was
angry energy, like I don't know, this isn't for me and I'm going to flip him, I'll get it anyway. And actually, I think the world's changed. If you think about the way we talk to our children now, I think actually they're going into, I really hope they're going into a world where they will have more sort of balanced opportunities and more understanding however they are. Whereas I think that business before, hustle culture was the only way.
Yes,
especially
a lot more
for women.
Absolutely. There's a lot more self-care, a lot more awareness around mental health, neurodiversity. All of these things are being spoken about a lot more. But those are the kind of things that we need to share on our social media and be vulnerable and open and honest. If you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, like, talk about your passions and what like really fires you up, and like if you love a sport and get really excited, like show all these different, we're not just one thing.
No,
we are so many things, and that's really what makes those kind of connections, so that someone feels that they can reach out in the time when they need you, even if they don't know exactly if you can help them. They may reach out to you and see if you know of somebody, and that's a really good place to be.
Yeah, I think it doesn't feel natural to go and start going, oh, hey, okay, well, I don't know, example for me, my mum's in hospital at the moment. She struggles with her mental health. I've spoken about it a few times because I think it's it's a bigger conversation that needs to be had. But I don't know that every day I could be going out there and going, you know, here's what happened. And I don't think I could. I think there's like anger is the word I use, like a sort of angry aggression sometimes around like really needing to make my point. And I'm not that kind of person, and I don't want to bring that.
No, so I think for me and you, sometimes you share your opinions on things more than I would. I tend to put out there, this is me, this is my experience, with no opinion. I don't really, unless it's about my children, but then that's my experience.
Yeah.
I will share that. I choose not to, and part of my brand is not to share how I feel about anything that's political or controversial. That is, but I'm like that. I don't think, even when we have conversations, we don't have deep conversations about we know what each other's kind of views are.
Yeah,
but we don't
openly go political on the podcast.
No. But even on our own, away from microphones, we're not really like that.
No.
We are very, and that's just naturally, both me and you are a bit like, we can control what we can control, and we will improve what we can improve.
Yeah.
And we're very positive, and that's really what we are behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody that's being angry and shouting about things in a day-to-day, so I wouldn't do it on Facebook.
No.
Whereas some people don't say anything and then they choose that platform to do it.
Yeah, like controversy, or like we've always said, like, we don't, if there's some kind of industry politics bitching, not into it at all, and it's just
we don't talk about it.
No.
We're like, do you see that thing? No, not for us.
Yeah.
Because what we are very good at is protecting our energy, and is it going to fill my cup up and make me feel better talking about something? No. And we do acknowledge that we don't like it. So if we see something like, wasn't, but then we'll change the subject and move on. So that's who we are, and that's what we portray.
Yeah.
We're not pretending just to be all like everything's sweet and light. That's just how we choose to live our lives.
Yeah.
We don't listen to the news.
No.
When we're together as well, we will turn it off if we're in the car, or if so last night, prime example, we are staying at my brother's at the moment while we're recording this, and I was like, well, we won't watch true crime together, because that is not Zoe's vibe. I love a bit of true crime, and I will talk about the fact I love true crime. But so we ended up watching dating shows because that makes you happy.
Yeah.
And I know that about you because of your personal brand and what that is.
I feel like I need to watch true crime tonight.
I did make you watch one the other night, and you were so stressed out. I just don't like it. You don't like it. I said there was no murder in it either.
It was just
you don't like anything like that. So we can only watch love. That's all we can watch.
Happy love, unicorns,
even though
and
they are
rainbows.
all wallies. And I'm like, oh my god, this is winding me up. People are so stupid. Anyway,
but we're putting out an extension of like our true values. So we're not saying,
we're not faking.
Hey, let's think. What are some things that I feel I could post about? Oh, I'm going to suddenly decide that I really want to talk about unicorns. Oh, no, that's a really bad example.
You would mostly talk about unicorns. Yeah. But that was funny earlier today when you opened up ChatGPT to ask it a question. It's like, Zoe, I love cats too. They're just so cute and furry. And I was like, oh my god, even your ChatGPT. That is what you're like, though.
I think my daughter's been using my ChatGPT. Okay. Just like caveat, that could be why.
I really thought it was you. You do love cats. So it's about genuinely being an extension of you, not trying to be something you're not. And I think people get that wrong.
Yeah.
And people can see it. Because when you meet someone in person and then you see something they post online, you go, oh, that's out of alignment.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit odd.
That's like using AI for content right now, because I don't know who I was listening to recently, but someone said, I know this person really well, and I've started to see these posts, and I'm like, that's not written by them.
Yeah.
And that's really, like, I think there is in this trust environment, we were talking about trust earlier on in the earlier part of this training, and where we've got to trust humans so much. This is why the personal brand, like you talking about your Yorkshire puddings or whatever, that's why it's so important, because they need to know you're a real human and you're like them in some way, that they can connect with you and trust you with now their finances. So we do need to decide which parts of things we're happy to open up and share, but that doesn't mean we have to share anything. There's no agenda here apart from make sure people understand who we are and we're consistent. This is where I think it's difficult. We're just not used to going, hey, I'm going to go and write something about my life today.
You shared something before about like thinking about what was the like most interesting thing that happened to me today, and it does become a habit. Now I am nowhere near as consistent as you, but and I'm still learning, and I always will. But there are points.
Always learning.
Yeah, there are points where something happens, and I'm like, oh, we should share that. Oh, we should share that, and that it becomes a habit. And whether I share it in that moment or write a note about it and save it for another day where it feels more appropriate, or something else that I've learned is like from you is just to take more photos of things. Like if you see something you're like, oh wow, like the other day I went out for a run and there was an amazing rainbow behind me, and I just like took a photo. Now I looked awful, and will I ever share it? Maybe one day I will share it, but it was just a great rainbow. And I was like, oh, that's a nice frame for a like that kind of thing. I've got them ready. I might not need to share now, but I could do someday. Yeah. And it's having like that bank of content.
Yeah, I'm a real person.
Yes.
Front of mind all the time. Something that is really important in terms of how to find clients is that we are asking for the work. So with all of this great personal brand work you've done, you're going to naturally start conversations. You're going to have people who are commenting on posts you're putting out there, or sending you DMs to tell you how great the video is that you published, or the book that you wrote, or whatever you've been working on, congratulating you on your work. These are great opportunities for you to ask them about themselves and how they feel about their finances right now. I think it's that simple. We just take people into a conversation about work. We're friendly, and then of course they know they're talking to us as a business owner, and us turning the conversation into business and services is completely natural. Okay, so we need to start talking about ourselves a bit more so people get to know us. We can drip bits of business into that. But the main point of that personal brand work is to build trust, and occasionally to send people to, some people would say every single time, give people something to do next, which will be related to the business brand, the basic level 1 part of this. But this is really about consistency and trust. There are loads of other things that we can be doing as well as like posting online. I think we're sort of talking about posting on Facebook or LinkedIn or whichever platform you're using right now. Things like LinkedIn articles or blogging or creating like long videos like this.
Yep.
We know bookkeepers who've got podcasts.
Yep.
We know bookkeepers who've got YouTube channels who do tutorials of things.
And one thing that you did, which was just genius, is you love to write, which is obvious. And you wrote lots of blog posts. Can you tell me how you did that, where you put these blog posts, and then what that did for you in the end, and what piece of content you created?
Okay, so I listened to Janet Murray's podcast. She used to do lots of content creation stuff, and she had a brilliant podcast, and I listened to it, and I think she was talking about the book They Ask You Answer, where what the idea of this in a nutshell is every time someone asks you a question related to your area of expertise, bookkeeping, you write that down, and then you write some kind of answer to it, or content, or FAQ, frequently asked question, for your website or a blog post. So what I started doing, I didn't have all these questions. Some of them I was like, what might someone ask me? I'll just start answering, explaining the answer because it's first of all a resource that I can send clients, or people might find it useful who don't understand these terms or what they mean for them, but also because I can answer the questions that come up and I'll never have to answer them again.
Yeah.
So just laziness, efficiency.
Yes, efficiency.
And then I got to a point, where I looked at, and I think I had about 90 blog posts or something. Also, a blog post is, blogs were like really good for SEO. So, you can get lots of keywords into them.
Search engine optimization.
Thank you. Lots of keywords. The internet, Google, algorithms, they like the keywords. They're looking for particular patterns in terms of titles and where those words come up in headings and how they're spaced throughout the blog post.
So you were adding these to your website. Was it like a blog page
Blog
on
page.
Right, okay.
Blog
And you would
page.
just add them every week or whenever.
I think I had a Wix website. I had a blog on there. Yeah, and it was just lots of like keywords that people might be looking for in terms of bookkeeping. So the idea was to get people on the website looking at my services so they would buy them. It also gave me something I could share as content every week. So every week I had a Instagram post go out. There's a new blog, and people could go and read it. And some people told me they read them, which I was always amazed by. And then one day I realized I had like 90 of them. I was like, wow, I've written loads of stuff here. Like this this could be a book. And because I was pregnant and bored, I think I wrote down that ChatGPT would have organized this all for me today, wouldn't it? But I wrote down all the titles on post-it notes, and I was like, oh look, I've got like this column of post-it notes that are about this kind of topic and this column about this kind of topic. Oh yeah, they could be like chapters of a book. And then I put it into a book, Joe, and filled in the gaps. So I did it in a Word document, took all the blog posts, obviously needed to try and make it read less like blog posts. There are definitely bits, if you look at the book, it's called Know Your Numbers. If you look at the book, it does have bits where it's like 5 things you should know about something, because that was a blog post.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a better way. You know, I'm not an editor or anything, but
no, but that is how you elevate your personal brand, because when you actually put that book out there, you definitely saw, you know, I recognised you. Like, if it hadn't have been for that book, if you think back, would you have been asked to speak on the stage that day?
Well, what happened was I wrote the book 2019. Obviously, I gave the book to lots of clients. I think I sold some. Gave the book to lots of clients. I could then take it to, I was part of a networking group called Freelance Mum. I took some to Freelance Mum. I asked Gary Carter of the ICB to write the foreword for the book. I knew that if I did that, might mean that the ICB would want to share that the book existed. They definitely wrote something on their website about Bookkeeper Writes a Book or something. And then I was invited to speak at the Bookkeeper Summit, which is when we really got to know each other, isn't it? And I do think that move was maybe like a surprising thing to do at that time as a bookkeeper. I think now, you know, 6 years on, it's much more possible for people to self-publish a book. You know, we've written a book this summer for Hey Monica. It doesn't have to be a long exercise. There are lots of tools that can support you with that now. So I think it is easier now. Obviously, I had an editor and a proofreader and all of that kind of stuff. So I just had to learn. I think that so much of business is just about learning, and it's just thinking like, what's going to elevate me? We always talk about, like, we're big fans of Daniel Priestley and his book Key Person of Influence. I knew that writing a book was one of those pieces that would give me that status.
Yeah, credibility, status, and you're just putting yourself out there. And I think what you said there, you didn't know how to write a book. You've never written a book before. Now you have 3.
Yeah.
So, you know, now you've learnt it, you can't unlearn it.
No. But, you know, like, other people have done this since. So, like, I think about Dave Shannon from our community, and his business is Drive Ahead Bookkeeping. He used to be a driving instructor, runs a bookkeeping practice. He wrote a book.
Yeah.
It was like, Are You Ready for Business? He talks specifically to driving schools there about the bookkeeping for their business. So he's like thought about, who's my niche?
Yeah.
What do they need to know about accounts that, like, obviously he comes from that background. So he's thought, like, what did I need to know? And it's really, really relevant. And then he's thought, okay, well, what can I put in front of them that's going to elevate me and help me to build my credibility? And their business is growing. You know, his wife's in the business. Like, they've really grown. Every time we see them at an awards night or something, like, it's always great things for them. So I think it is just like thinking about we've spoken before about being kind of intimidated by other business owners because they look bigger and more successful than ours. But actually, rather than being intimidated by other businesses, what if you were to look at those businesses and think, what are the things they're doing that puts in my mind that they are more successful, more accomplished? Like, why do I look up to them so much? What have they done? And is there a way that there's a space for me to do that too?
Yeah. I love the saying that success leaves clues.
Yeah.
So we just need to find the clues and then get out of our own way and do it.
Yeah. Love it. So we need to be thinking about, in terms of raising our personal brand, what are those elements that are going to elevate us? Is it blogging? LinkedIn articles are great as well. LinkedIn article, there's lots you can do with like LinkedIn, like there's a LinkedIn news, and they'll like talk about particular topics. So, like, it's just look out for these things. Like, what are the like most prolific creators doing right now that aligns with what you have time for, what your audience needs to actually see? Is it like our shorts and TikToks? Some of the youngsters in our community, we can say that because we're in our 40s, but like they're great at TikTok.
Yeah.
Like they've grown up with that short form video as the leading social media platform.
Yeah.
And that's just like natural. I wish I could be there. Like thank you to Rachel and Ben who record the podcast for cutting our podcast up for us. But, you know, we aren't able to do that quite as well because I think we just haven't learned how to use that muscle yet.
Yeah.
But like, just think like, what can you be doing? But the main point is to be seen as like the thought leader, I suppose, the thought leader for your clients.
Absolutely. And that can be, you can be sharing your thoughts on anything and sharing your, like, what you really care about, because that's your truth. And if you are really truthful, then people will find you trustworthy.
Yes. So that brings us to the end of the second section. So in terms of finding your clients, we need to start with the business foundations. We need to make sure we've got those pieces of groundwork in place, the website, the LinkedIn profile. Everyone knows what we do. We can repeat that message. It just rolls off the tongue. The second part is looking for the clues as to what makes a successful personal brand, deciding which of those things are for us, being consistent and prolific wherever it makes sense for us to do that. And then there's a third part of this puzzle in terms of finding our clients.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in. So now you know how to build your personal brand. Hopefully you've got some great strategies that you can take away from this video. Don't forget, if you haven't yet watched video 1, which is the beginner strategies for finding clients, in that video, and you can find the link underneath this one, you'll be able to learn all about the business foundations that are really important for building your business brand and finding those clients. Now, the video that comes straight after this one, you're going to want to go and watch it now. That is level 3. And what we're going to talk to you about in the level 3 video is how you can use referral strategies and get your existing clients shouting from the rooftops about you so that they can do the hard work for you. We'll see you in that video.